Many drivers stick to one steering method or use incorrect, lazy steering techniques. These steering habits could lead to very dangerous situations on both casual and performance driving. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 4 different steering techniques I use every day for my driving. And if you're new to this channel, my name is Diaz. I've been a car and driving enthusiast for over 7 years now, and I've been doing this POV tutorial videos on YouTube for the past year. And when I started driving, I was also not very confident in which steering technique to use in every single situation and how to become, in general, better at steering your vehicle. And through time and experience, I realized that I should not rely on a single steering technique. And that's why I believe all drivers should learn multiple steering techniques and apply them based on a situation. Every single steering technique has its advantages and disadvantages. And that is why it's important to understand when and how to apply the steering techniques we're going to talk about today based on a certain situation on the road. Every single person is different. So for some of you, the things that I'm going to talk about today and all the different techniques might not work for you the way they work for me. And throughout this video, I'm not trying to say that my steering techniques are the best, they are the only right ones to use. This video is just a rough guide what worked for me when it comes to steering. As you can see, I'm using the 9 and 3 method right now. And this is usually the method that is taught by every single driving teacher I saw on YouTube. And it is for a good reason. And I believe if you are a beginner driver, you should have this method as default. So whenever you don't know which steering technique to use, you just default to this one. So let's quickly talk about why this method works and why is it most common out there. The reason is that your hands are situated at the opposite ends of the steering wheel, the left and right. And that means that you have maximum control over your steering input. And if we talk from a physical standpoint, you have one hand on the left side, one hand on the right, and they are on the opposite sides of the circle, which is the steering wheel. And the great thing is that you will need the same amount of force from your left and right hand to perform any steering input. So it is very natural and very easy to process for your brain. The other good reason to use this technique is because it is safer in event of an accident and your airbag deploys. Your hands will not be in the way of the airbag and you will not punch yourself when the airbag deploys. And you can also see that car engineers design the steering wheels that you are very comfortable to use your steering wheel at 9 and 3. And since you have maximum control of the steering wheel, it is the most easiest way to make smallest adjustments to your steering input. So let me quickly demonstrate to you when and how to use this steering technique. So as I said, if you're not sure which steering technique to use, just default to 9 and 3. I also use this technique all the time when I feel like the situation on the road is a little bit risky and you're not sure if something unexpected is about to happen. Or I use it in a situation where I need maximum control of my steering wheel. This road is also a great example when to use the 9 and 3 position, because you can see we have a little bit of curves on this kind of road. So whenever we hit any curve like this at a reasonable speed, at a higher speed, it is the best to use the 9 and 3 position. But even though 9 and 3 method is great, there are 3 more steering techniques to use, which are also great, and they are useful in the situations I'm going to talk about right now. And before we go to the next steering technique, just one small tip for you. Please don't grab your wheel too tight like this. You're not going to have as much of control when you're grabbing your wheel too hard or too tight. Your grip should be assertive but gentle, because if you grab your wheel too tight, you will lose the feedback that a steering wheel could provide to you. And when you're grabbing your steering wheel gently, you'll receive as much feedback as possible from your front wheels and from the road. The second common steering technique I use daily is 8 and 4. And even though 9 and 3 is great, it could get tiring to use 9 and 3 all the time. And that's why 8 and 4 is a great alternative, especially when you are going on long road trips. So it is a perfect timing right now, and we are getting close to the highway, and I like to use 8 and 4 on the highway the most. So before you actually get to the highway, I don't recommend to use 8 and 4. Just use F9 and 3 for maximum control. But once you are settled on the highway and you feel comfortable, you can use 8 and 4 just to maintain your steering angle and be aware. But compared to 9 and 3, the 8 and 4 method lets your arms, neck, and shoulders rest a bit more. And for long trips, it is the best way to get less fatigue. But the important part is that you want to use 8 and 4 in a situation when you feel like you don't necessarily need maximum control. And this comes from the defensive driving. Right now, as you can see, I have lots of space in front of me. I have lots of space between me and the car behind me. I don't have anyone on my sides right now. So I don't necessarily need maximum control at this very moment. And that's why I can use 8 and 4. And you can see right now, I can see the car on my left. So I will put my hands on 9 and 3 in case this car will decide to cut me off suddenly, or they will not check their blind spot and move into my lane. So I'll be ready for this. But once you feel again that the situation is comfortable enough for you, you put your hands on 8 and 4 and you cruise. 8 and 4 position is also very useful for airbag deployment as well, because it will push your hands onto your laps instead of your face. And this technique is still much better than the technique I see all the time, which is one hand on the top of the steering wheel. And why is it better? Because first of all, we have two hands on the steering wheel, which gives us twice as much grip control. And the other reason is that it is so much easier to go to 9 and 3 from this position. As you can see, I can switch these positions very fast and be ready for a sudden situation on the road. And again, we want to be as close to 9 and 3 position all the time, because for some cars, we have paddle shifters at the back of the steering wheel, and the easiest way to reach them is by having your hands on 9 and 3 all the time, or most of the time. And when I'm at 9 and 3, look how easy it is for me to use my turn signals. I just use my finger and I just pull it down. If I want to cancel it, just pull it up, and that's it. It is so easy to use my windshield wipers. Just one finger. It doesn't even take me any effort. So at this moment, I would like to use 9 and 3 for these curves. You see there was a pothole there. I want to hit it. And I'll have maximum control with my 9 and 3 method. Let's merge into the highway by maintaining the 9 and 3 method right here. We're merging. And as soon as I feel like I'm comfortable enough, I can use the 8 and 4 again. So this is a great example of when you should use 8 and 4 or 9 and 3. At least it works for me, and it makes my drives so much more enjoyable and less fatiguing. But the other important thing to mention is that I know these roads, and I've been on these highways so many times. But if you're not familiar with the area, if you're not familiar with the road you're driving at, I don't recommend using 8 and 3 most of the time, because you're not sure about potential potholes on this road. You don't know if there's potential road closure in front, and it will cause all of these cars to stop suddenly. You'll have less time to react. And if you're not familiar with the area, you're not probably familiar with the kind of drivers that drive on these roads. Every single area has different kind of drivers. So you want to make sure you kind of understand the expected behavior of those drivers. Exit ramp is also 9 and 3, because usually exit ramps have curves like this, right? So you want to maintain maximum control. Even if I go a little bit faster here, you see how much control I have over these curves. Today is a holiday, not lots of traffic on the road. We are in the city. We just want to enjoy ourselves and be calm, let's say, for a moment. We don't need to have 9 and 3 method all the time, except for this turn. But if we see and notice that the situation is quite calm, not lots of things happening, we can put our hands on 8 and 4 and just relax, especially if we're going slower speeds. My city has 30 miles per hour limits. Since it's relatively slow, I recommend to you to use 8 and 4, especially when you're going through these kind of neighborhoods. We're not rushing anywhere. We're just trying to be alert to look for any pedestrians or cyclists. And we can use 8 and 4 here again. And since we are in the city, I would like to discuss the other two steering techniques I like to use. And the next one is push and pull. So let's say we are at the stop sign, as we are right now. We want to turn left. We want to put our left hand on the top of the steering wheel. And we want to pull it down while pushing up our steering wheel with the right hand, like this. We'll make sure there's no one here. And we make a turn. And then we go back to 9 and 3 or 8 and 4, depending on the situation. But the reason I like to use the steering technique is that it is easier to make these 90-degree turns. And while we make this turn, as you can see, we are in the middle of the turn. I'm kind of maintaining this 9 and 3 position, which gives me, again, maximum control, right? As you can see, 9 and 3. And the great thing about having the maximum control in the middle of the turn is that there could be some potential hazards in the middle of the turn, like potholes, people, maybe something else. We can make small adjustments to avoid hitting something. So for example, here, you can see 9 and 3, I have maximum control, so I can make these kind of small adjustments to where I want to put my car. And it's so easy. So as I said, I like to use this technique on the intersection. It doesn't matter if it's a traffic light or a stop sign, because I like to have this control in the middle of the corner. But it's usually done at the lower speed. I don't recommend doing it at the higher speed. I put my left hand on the top of the steering wheel. I start making a turn. I push the steering wheel with my right hand up. And we make a safe and a very controllable turn. You see? I have enough turning point to do this turn. Even though when I put my hand on the top of the steering wheel, it looks unsafe, but it's not, because I'm still using two hands on my steering wheel to maintain the maximum control. And it's just for a split second before you actually make the turn. And as you could have seen from some of these turns before, there were some turns that required me to use even more angle, and even push and pull method cannot work fully. And for these wider turns, or maybe quick turns, we would like to use the arm over arm method. First of all, you should only use it at a very low speed, because the main counter argument about the arm over arm method is that in the event of the airbag deployment, it is very unsafe position for your hands to be, because you will hit yourself or you will break your arms while the accident will occur. But since we are doing this at a very low speed and probably in the enclosed areas such as a parking lot, the airbag wouldn't deploy at a very low speed. I justify using the arm over arm method for very tight parking lots or situations where you need to make one quick turn after another, and I shall demonstrate it to you once we get to the designated parking lot. And while we are approaching the parking lot, we have another 90-degree turn here, which we can use the push and pull method. Again, right hand on the top, pull it down the steering wheel, push it up with my left hand, and we are off. You see, it was so easy, so safe, and enjoyable. So as you can see, in these tight spots and parking lots, it's a very, very tight corner, and you have to make quick adjustments to your steering wheel. We start at 9 and 3. We turn our steering wheel to 180 degrees, and then once you have your arms crossed like this, you switch your right hand to the other side of the steering wheel, and you are meeting again at 9 and 3, and then you turn again. So you only switch your hands once, And this makes it very easy to make these tight turns. And for straightening up your car, after you finish the arm of arm method, you just slowly reverse the procedure to make it smooth. Let's make a couple of more turns like this here to demonstrate to you. Turn left. I do it very slowly, so it's easier for you to see how it's done. So let's say we want to make a quick turn to the right and then to the left. We turn right first. And then we turn left very fast. See? It's so easy to do these kind of maneuvers very fast with this method. And I'm not sure you can do these turns with the other techniques I showed you today. This is the only one that works. I can also maintain steering angle like this while making a wider turn. It's such a great technique. I love to use it all the time, especially in these tight spots. So let's say we learned all of these steering techniques, and it's great that we know all of these and know when to use them. It's still very hard to apply those skills and those new techniques if we don't know how to steer or drive smoothly. So that's why you should watch my other video on how to drive smoothly. Stay safe out there, keep enjoying the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.